Welcome to an episode of Theological Sidebars. For those of you who are now seeing this but didn't see the last one because it was throttled by YouTube because of the content they didn't like, they might like this one, but this one I absolutely hate. Found an article as I was just scrolling on the internet, just kind of looking at news of things that's coming around, and saw this one that you might like. It's very odd, very weird, but let's look at it together. The title, this comes from Religious News Service, says a TikTok Jesus promises divine blessings and many worldly comforts. So let me stop here. Before we get into this, this is this article that I found. It's only about 2 weeks old, and so it's very interesting. But this ties to something I think is a little bit bigger than just this. But let me read the article just for a few minutes. Let's interact with this and let's talk about it. So here's the title, right? TikTok Jesus promises divine blessings and many worldly comforts. Scholar of American Religion explains how the new phenomenon of Jesus images on TikTok is tapping into the prosperity gospel, Christian belief that God will reward faith with this worldly comforts. So a TikTok profile, Daily Believer, has 70 videos which computer generated. Jesus is looking directly at the viewer, beseeching them to stop scrolling and watch the next minute's worth of content. All these Jesuses are long-haired, bearded, recalling artist Warner Solomon's ubiquitous 1940 painting Head of Christ. Some wear the crown of thorns, some look alarmingly like the actor Jared Leto. Actually, as I was looking at these pictures here, because this one actually looks like Zac Efron with a beard. This one looks like, that looks like the guy from The Passion right there, too. Okay, Bizarro. Let me just say this. Let me just stop for just a second before I keep reading. I did not want to watch this at all. I clicked one of them, not thinking, because truthfully, I have a problem with this. I have a huge problem with this, and I'll get to that in a reason in just a second. But so I'm grateful for somebody else who's had to sit through this. I don't want to. It feels too odd. I'll get there in just a sec, but let's keep reading on. So goes on to say that nearly all promise a surprise or good news soon in exchange for the viewer liking, commenting, amen, or sharing it with their friends and family. With this digital outreach, Daily Believer has gained, as of November 13th, 2023, 813,200 followers and over 9.2 million likes. So essentially this is what it is, right? It's one of those ones of like, I have a message for you. Keep listening. Make sure you share it, right? Hold on. I've got a lot to say, but let's hold on. As a scholar of religion in the U.S. and its intersection with popular culture, I've been studying the ways American Christians use media and popular culture to perform religious work and evangelical outreach for the past 13 years. I argue that this TikTok phenomenon, which the viewers are promised good luck for sharing, liking, and commenting on videos of a computer-generated Jesus, is close to what is known as the prosperity gospel. That is, Christian belief that God will reward faith with this worldly comforts like health and wealth. If they do, they will receive a blessing within an hour. And if they do not, computer-generated Jesus issues a thinly veiled threat of damnation by quoting Matthew 3:10, which has John the Baptist saying, "Even now the axe is lying at the root of the trees. Every tree that does not bear good, every tree therefore does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire." So, okay, here's the issue. So the crux, when you look at what this story is about, right? It's about this TikTok profile that is these computer AI Jesus that will come and give messages to people, and you must watch, right? If you're truly a follower of his, you're going to pass that on, and you'll have blessings if you do. So here's the tie-in that I think this is one of those easy traps that Christians fall into, and it's the stuff I absolutely hate. Like you see them all over Facebook. People post those like, "If you really love Jesus, you're going to like this." Because I really love Jesus, I dislike your photo. My following of Jesus, my love for Jesus, my living for Jesus has nothing to do with whether I like your stupid video. And this is the problem, is Americans get sucked into this because, well, it's a picture of Jesus. I don't want to be seen as somebody who doesn't. You know how you can show that you're really, truly a follower of Jesus? Live for him. Lordship salvation, meaning he is Lord of my life. He tells me what to do. That shows that I truly live for Jesus, not did I clicked and liked something, right? Like that's the big thing that people don't understand, and I don't understand why that people get sucked into this kind of thing. So there's a couple things that I kind of want to be looking and just kind of work through. So first off, let me go over to the Bible app that I have open, and let's just deal with the first part of this. The first part of, like I said, I brought up lordship salvation, right? Look at how Jesus talks about what it means to truly belong to him, right? When they go out and they say, your brothers, behold, your mother and your brothers are standing outside seeking to speak to you. Jesus answered the one who was telling him and said, who is my mother and who are my brothers? And stretching out his hand toward his disciples, he said, behold, my mother and my brothers. Whoever does the will of my Father who is in heaven, he is my brother, sister, and mother. So the will of the Father in heaven is not to like your stupid TikTok video or your Facebook post or your Instagram post, right? Like, that is not what Jesus, you want to know what Jesus' will is? Guess what? It's not coming from the AI generated TikTok video. It's coming from like cracking open your Bible and looking at what the words actually say and then doing them. That's what you do. When you see that like push on the internet to be like, you must click this, you must do it. No, the only obligation that the Christian has is to do the words of the scriptures, right? It's what we're supposed to do. It's not that we're not obligated to like a Facebook post, right? Like that's not what we're here to do. And so it's one of the things that's like what James says. James says, if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he's like a man who looks in the at his natural face in the mirror, right? So that's what we're told to do. Like, we want to be people who not only hear the word, but we do the word. This is what we're called to do. That's what we're obligated to do, is to do the words, hear them and do them. Okay, here's the other thing that's just absolutely wrong with this, and it comes from just the most basic understanding of idolatry in the Bible. Exodus 20, right? I am the Lord who brought you, Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the place of slavery. Do not have other gods beside me. Do not make an idol. That word idol, if you see here, it's actually the word for, it's just image, idol, a likeness of a man or an animal. So it's not like, we sometimes think, oh, it's like this little mini statue. No, any image, right, of God. Do not make an idol for yourself, whether in the shape of anything in the heavens above or on the earth below or in the waters underneath the earth. Do not bow and worship to them. Do not serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, bringing the consequences of the father's iniquity on the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing faithful love to 1,000 generations for those who love me and keep my commands. So, like, this is a big one. Don't make an image of Jesus. I have a huge problem with images of Jesus, by the way. I don't know if I addressed this with Andrew Marquez. You know, Andrew Marquez, my buddy, man, my homeboy. I have a huge problem. I think we did something on this in an OTXNT episode or not. But I have a huge problem if we make these images of Jesus. We should not make images of Jesus. I think there's no problem of like doing something for a children's story to just show like a cartoony one. But I have a huge problem when you do stuff like this. We did talk about this. I remember why, because we were talking about The Chosen. Is the chosen idolatrous? And the bigger problem, I think, was the kind of the image that we portray of Jesus is much bigger. Not necessarily like the Jesus film kind of stuff. That's another one. But can I tell you what else comes to mind, right? Like when you start to see this, you watch this TikTok video, and you see what's going on, and it's kind of like man, this is eerie, right? It's very eerie that it sounds a lot like something from the book of Revelation, right? Like, so let me show you what it made me think of immediately. This is what's spooky to me, right? Like, notice from the book of Revelation, John writes in Genesis or Revelation 13. It says, let's go back a little bit more. Verse 11, I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. It had 2 horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. It exercises all authority of the first beast on its behalf and compels the earth and those who live on it to worship the first beast, whose fatal wound was healed. It also performs great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to earth in front of the people. It deceives those who live on the earth because of the signs that it is permitted to perform in the presence of the beast, telling those who live on the earth to make an image of the beast who was wounded by the sword and to give and yet lived. It was permitted to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast who could both speak and cause whoever would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. So it was permitted to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast could both speak and cause whoever did not worship the image of the beast to be killed. And it makes everyone small or great, rich, poor, free or slave, to receive the mark on his right hand or his forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark. Like, this is that kind of stuff where you're like, okay, here's an image that's speaking. Like, to me, this is all wrong, right? And so whoever's doing this, obviously, you can look at this account and you can say, first off, they have the wrong intention. You can go back and read the rest of the account if you'd like to. They have the wrong intentions of, if this is, we really want Jesus to be known, then don't have him be known for like click my likes and stuff like that. And plus, I don't see there's much value. If you go and read the rest of the article, it's usually just listen to this and make sure you send it or you get blessings. And that's a whole nother thing we can talk about another time, is this idea of prosperity gospel. We don't see that. Like, there is no sense of like, you do all these things, you get all these blessings. Hence, look at the apostles. None of them make it out rich. All of them die. One of them dies in exile. The rest of them are murdered, right? And Paul talks about, being content in all situations. Never did this all out for Jesus. More out than the average person in America ever, right? More out than probably most people ever. Didn't end up loaded because of their following of Christ. So that's another one to look at too. So there's a lot of things wrong with this. I think that this is something we should stay away from. Don't mess with this kind of stuff. If you see that, and I'm just going to say, I'll go back to the whole thing again. Like, you get those little Facebook posts, just ignore them. Your service of Christ has nothing to do with whether or not you like or subscribe to a dumb channel that has his image on it. In fact, if you see his image, run, right? Like, that's not him. It's not him, and that's not his stuff. So I also have, you want to launch into this. I have a problem when we have those things where we like make it as if Jesus is saying something that he really didn't say. The best way to know what Jesus wants you to know is like read the word. And I hate that we go into red letters and black letters. I understand that we want to highlight the words of Jesus. Actually, another video that's coming down the road at some point with Dr. Marquez is the words of Jesus. Are they weightier than any other part of the scriptures? I'm going to give you a Cliff Notes version. No. But, if you want to start with that, just read the red letters, right? That's how you know what Jesus wants. You want to have a daily talk with Jesus? How about just start with Matthew? Look at all the red there. That's a daily conversation with Jesus. Let him speak into your life through his words. Don't use the Facebook images, right? You're not going to get blessed by clicking it. I promise you, you will not get blessed. You're not going to get blessed. In fact, you will probably be cursed as clicking. Now, I don't want to say I don't know if that's true or not, but you should stay away from it. I'm going to bring this up because I remember probably not that long ago, we got a text from one of my daughter's friends texting us. It's like, same little thing. Here's a little message from Jesus for you. And in one sense, you're like, okay, I'm glad that she likes Jesus. But the other thing, I'm like, this poor girl's like got sucked in, like that she needs to send these, and she needs to think like that her favor with Christ depends on this. Last thing I'm going to say on this, if you truly trust in Jesus, your favor with Christ does not depend on whether you've liked his posts, right? The gospel tells us that we find favor with the Father because of the work of Jesus on our behalf. Like, Jesus came because we nothing favorable. His record stands in our place when we've trusted in the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Christ. So my standing with God is no longer based on what I have done. And I love what J.D. Greear used to say when he had that book that came out Gospel Revolution, and he says something akin to, because of the gospel, there's nothing that I could ever do that would make God love me more, and there's nothing that I could do that would make God love me less, because my favor standing is in the person of Jesus. So this is another thing. It's absolutely heretical to say that Jesus would be more pleased with you or not because of liking or subscribing to posts. All right, I'm a little hyped up here. I hope that's it for now. Like, subscribe. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys have a great week. And if you got anything else you'd like me to talk on, let me know. We'll talk later. Bye-bye.